You know, speaking of being a kid and learning, when you think about learning to read, it's hard to remember that phase of your life, right? You kind of just take for granted because it typically happens when you're 5 or 6, and then it's so ingrained in your brain. But what if in your 70s reading was still a struggle? It's something we take for granted and people have a hard time with it. Would you think to ask for help? Well, as TCL's Kelly Hansen shows us, a New Richmond man did, and what he found has retrained his brain.
Green, red, green.
We've taken you inside a LearningRx center many times before. It's a place that means a better grade, a passing class, a stronger memory, even acceptance to college for a high school senior.
Ready, go. 1,
2, 3,
add 2,
4, 11, blank, blank.
But for 72-year-old Wayne Kolstad, LearningRx means a second chance.
I happened to be watching Twin Cities Live, and the fella came on there, and I gotta check this out.
Green, green, red.
He saw former NFL player Ben Utek's LearningRx story 6 months ago. Ben suffered concussion after concussion playing professional football. His short and long-term memory were nearly non-existent until he trained his brain at LearningRx.
I knew there was problems because I'd had people in the past ask me if I'd had a brain injury.
Growing up, Wayne didn't know how a brain injury could have happened. But just a few years ago, his brother told him a story that he says explained everything.
When I was an infant, I almost choked to death, and my dad was shaking me by my feet. And he says I was whipping around like a rag doll.
Wayne struggled in school with every subject, and as an adult, he barely knew how to read.
He literally couldn't distinguish between, you know, the and those sounds all sound the same to him. Ready? Count.
His brain trainer, Brock Heinrich, says Wayne's short-term and long-term memory, even his ability to problem solve, was very poor.
Blank, blank, 3.
Nice.
So you did the assessment, and it came back, and can you tell me what it showed? What it said you were struggling with?
Everything. I was right at the very, almost at the bottom of every of the 8 cognitive skills that they show on that chart.
So every week, 3 times a week, for the last 6 months, Wayne has trained his brain.
Till, tile, spite, spit.
Good.
It's brain games, even practicing his vowels over and over, that have changed everything for this 72-year-old.
So tell me what it's like when you sit down with Brock and start to really train.
The thing I've noticed the most is, especially after a session, I'll be driving home and I have this sense of euphoria, and he works me pretty darn hard.
Bin. What do we get when we put the I in the?
Bind.
Yep, start over, right here. He works probably 4 or 5 times as hard as any other student we have here, so he's really quite amazing.
Wayne is no stranger to hard work. He's actually a skilled woodworker, creating spectacular carved fish, a business he's built over the last 15 years. His studio where these works of art are created is also his space to brain train on his own after he leaves the center.
He can work more intensely. He can sustain focus on something that's challenging for longer periods of time, and literally changing how his brain understands sound and words so that he's able to read now at a level that he's never been able to his entire life, which is crazy when you think about it.
Wayne will keep training his brain, improving his memory and auditory processing until he feels his time here is done. But until then, he'll keep plugging away at this second chance he's been given.
Good, no mistakes. Well done.
Oh my gosh, Wayne, you are the best.
Wayne's pretty awesome.
Just the best.
Party on,
LearningRx,
Wayne.
yeah, that's so true. LearningRx is offering TCL viewers a deal. If you call and mention Twin Cities Live, you'll get an initial assessment for $75. It's regularly priced at $199. And we've also posted more information about the program on our website, twincitieslive.com. Big thanks to LearningRx for sponsoring the show. And I will tell you, there's nothing more rewarding to me than hearing that people saw something on Twin Cities Live and then went out and changed their life because
absolutely.
of it.
I mean, changing their life.
Yeah.
That's pretty awesome.
That's really cool.